Just wasting my time.
All right, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Why are you laughing at me, dude?
No, that was funny. Go ahead.
Hey, can you stop laughing so I can record this?
Okay, go ahead. Go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the D.O.G podcast. As always, I'm Drew with OC in German. And today we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs, some surprises, and some major disappointments.
Major disappointments, right?
Yeah.
For both of you guys.
Yeah.
How was your guys' weekend?
It was chill.
It was chill?
It was chill. My Saturday was cool.
The Saturday was cool?
Yeah.
Till we got till Sunday? OC's Saturday wasn't all that great, right? Oh, he's still hurting. He's still hurting. Okay,
Just reliving the pain right
let's
now.
go straight into it. Let's go Dallas and Miami. Let's just talk about both those guys right now. Do you guys want to give your assessment first, or you want me to go first? You guys gathered your thoughts.
I don't
They
care.
didn't run the damn football, dude.
All right, LC's going in hot off the top rope. Let's see it. Let's do it.
Negative 27 degrees, and we can't run for 3 yards.
Raheem Mostert was like non-existent.
So was Achan.
So was
there was
Achan.
nothing. And I told you guys last week, I said, if they're going to be successful, it's going to be through the run. But it was like, let's abandon the run and let's throw quick screens all game. And then let's get into third and long and let's show our hand because they know we have to throw it deep.
Right.
So it was like we played everything into KC's defensive hands, you know. Steve Spagnuolo was confusing Tua with his looks. I just saw a video where the safeties were like pre-snap. They were just like rotating, just messing with Tua pre-snap, giving him different looks. Mm-hmm. And he was already kind of like, I don't know, made up on his route or where he was throwing it. But he didn't lick anybody off. It was just, you know.
And then they forced him to hang on to the ball. Huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's the thing that everyone's been mad about is that he doesn't ad-lib well. So you notice all the quarterbacks left, they're able to, if something gets taken away, they're able to use their legs or extend the play by moving around in the pocket.
Improvise a little bit.
Yeah, Tua couldn't do that. I think there was one play where he actually like scrambled and he picked up a first down, but other than that, that was pretty much it. Like,
wasn't that like his first scramble of the year or something like that?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He does not scramble. It's either he throws it away or it's he's taking the sack.
Yeah,
it's one of the two things. But yeah, they didn't run the ball. The defense kept them under 30. Like KC didn't look impressive offensively.
No,
but they did. They kept
them out of the end zone.
Yeah, they for the most. I think they only allowed 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. Total?
Yeah, and everything was 4 field goals.
All field goals.
They kept it respectable for at least 3 quarters. They were in it the whole time, but when you can't score offensively, you're not going to win a game, you know, especially on the road. Yeah, maybe weather looked like a factor, but Jesus Christ, the pass rush was non-existent. Mahomes had forever to throw or run, whatever he wanted to do.
But you guys also were missing your 2 best pass rushers, right?
Yeah, but that's why Melvin Ingram and Emmanuel Ogbah had no kind of pressure. I know we picked up Bruce Irvin. That was nothing, or half our linebacking core was out. But, I mean, they were dropping balls. You know, there was opportunities. There was tip balls that we could have made plays on, and it just never happened. It just kept, like, as a fan, you just kept sitting there like, when is it going to click? Like, when are they going to get something going? And then they finally get that long touchdown to Tua, from Tua to Hill, right, to make it 10-7. And then you're like, okay. Like, they just need to get another drive going. But that was it. Like, there was nothing ever they were able to sustain after that.
That for sure was a high point for Miami the entire game. When Tua was able to hit Tyreek on that big touchdown.
Yeah, because then you literally made it a 3-point game. It's 10-7 at that point.
There was also, they had a couple opportunities. I think there was one ball that he had Tyreek deep. He was open, and then it looked like just the wind just pushed the ball or whatever. Or just Tua just didn't have the arm to get. But, it was the conditions and stuff. And you mentioned how they only had 76 rushing yards the entire game.
It was
considering the conditions, right?
Was it the top rushing team? Or I know it was top 3 all year, and they couldn't even get over 80. Like, that's brutal. Like, you're not going to win games. Like, I thought running the ball would set up the passing game a little bit more, but it was just non-existent all the way around offensively.
Yeah. Drew, what did you see from Miami and Kansas City?
I sent it to you guys. I thought it was kind of interesting to see that tweet about Belichick and Brady in the bad weather, how they enjoyed throwing the ball a little bit more. I thought that was kind of different. And then Mahomes, he actually threw the ball way more than I thought.
Slinging it. He had 262.
But what OC was saying is the offense just looked flat. It looked like it lost the identity that it rolled into the playoffs. The number of screens kind of blew my mind. I mean, the amount of times that Kansas City was just like, all right, well, here's like the 8th screen of the game right here. Let's just jump this real quick, and a loss of 1 or a gain of 1. You can't get anything going when you're just throwing these quick screens over and over and over.
Maybe that was their version of trying to run the ball.
Maybe. Right? But I don't know. It seemed like the injuries adding up, the weather, the change of game plan, a lot of things just added up that was not in Miami's favor.
Anything you want to say to the Miami fans, OC?
I mean, they still hate me. So
Either way,
yeah. They're just going to be more upset when I say that Tua is going to get that long-term extension this offseason.
And that's what kind of I question the most too, is like what they keep questioning is like, is Tua the guy or not? Is he going to be the long term? It's like
the thing is like so I seen that question a bunch of times, right? Because everybody obviously came after me on Saturday.
Right.
Oh, they were fine. Well, I mean, they didn't run the ball, so yeah, they weren't fine. But the question was like, what are you going to do at Tua? Like, who are you going to replace him with, right?
Right.
And it's like there's nobody out there that can replace him and get the same kind of production, you know?
Right.
Because they would have to come in and literally learn the entire playbook. Everyone wants to draft a quarterback, okay, but he still has to develop.
Right.
Like the best thing you have right now is a guy that's been in the system for at least 2 years now, and at least can win you or get you winning seasons back-to-back years.
What people don't understand, Dolphins fans in general, Tua is still developing. This is his first full season being healthy, that he's got the full reins, and essentially this is a lot of people's rookie season where they start the season, they end the season being the starting guy. You got to give him more than this opportunity. Like it's pretty impressive that his first full season, you guys came down to game 17 for the division. And another year, it could be that he wins the division by game 16, and in a year from after that, he could be MVP candidate. You just don't know. To give up on someone right away is pretty ridiculous.
Well, he's also not playing defense too, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I know. But another thing is like Drew talks about, right? These fans like that get upset at him. This is the Dolphins' first time making postseason appearances back-to-back years in 20-something years.
Right.
And
like,
it's not,
23
years.
years.
Enough for them.
No, and it's like they act like Miami's like made a Super Bowl appearance or even a couple conference title games.
It's as if the expectations are like high every
It's
year,
like,
right? Yeah.
It's like Drew says, let this kid develop. Like he played half the games his rookie year, right? He was in and out of the lineup his second year. He was obviously injured last year. This year he finally made it through a whole entire season
He's
healthy.
a passing leader.
Yeah, and he led the league.
Yardage.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
still somehow like that's not up to the standards of Dolphin fans, because I don't know where these expectations came from.
Chad Pennington.
Yeah, because
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, because we've had a Pro Bowl quarterback selected the
Yeah.
last 10 years, you know?
Right.
It's let this kid develop. Like, give him the extension, right? Danny Dimes got an extension, and look what happened to him. Hopefully that doesn't happen to Tua, but I'm saying, like, if Daniel Jones can get an extension, Tua can too.
Tua will get paid. I don't think he'll get, like, paid.
No, he won't.
I don't think he won't get Jalen Hurts numbers.
He's
but
not going to reset the quarterback market.
No, but I mean, yeah, like you said, who are you going to replace him with? Like, it does. The only way that I think they were able to beat Tua the other day was, yeah, like you said, they took away his first read. They made him hang on to the ball. They disguised coverages, and he couldn't do much outside of that. If he adds that to his game, then watch out, right?
That was a clear game of the experienced playing against the inexperienced.
Right.
It was just a team that's been there, done that, against a team that, hey, we're still kind of coming up on the rise.
Which is like, I mean, look at other guys that like Zach Wilson and like other guys that can do that improvising stuff, like Justin Fields, who can do all that other stuff, but they can't do the basic stuff right.
Yeah.
Right.
They have all intangibles, but
Tua can do the basic stuff. He can at the very least do that. He's not going to be Josh Allen. He's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. I think that's where we've talked about it, that comparison to Justin Herbert. because Justin Herbert can do all the intangible stuff, right? Like,
Yeah,
like
but
the big playability. But I mean, if Tua can keep continuing to do the basic stuff, and then you add stuff to his games, I mean, who's to say he can't be like Drew Brees,
Yeah,
or
well,
like Phillip Rivers?
that's always been the comparison, right? Drew
Right.
Brees, even Peyton Manning, right? And Peyton Manning wasn't the best at extending plays, but he knew the playbook in and out.
He won
right?
the game. He won the game upstairs, right? All right here.
It was all upstairs. It was all pre-snap. He knew everything that was going to happen, or he tried to like set everything up beforehand.
Eli Manning too.
Yeah.
He couldn't extend plays.
No.
You watch that dude run?
It looks like an injury waiting to happen.
Looks like he's chasing the short bus, if you know what I mean.
It's both Mannings. it was both Mannings.
So
both
it's
Mannings.
just Tua can definitely be a winner there in Miami. That's why I was like, I don't understand why people are just caught up on him not being the answer.
Yeah.
It is weird to me. Anything else on Miami? You guys ready to move on? This is a rough loss. I get it.
Just that they have a bunch of guys that they're going to either have to cut or let go because there's not going to be enough money with that Tua extension. Like Christian Wilkins, he might not be back because he's going to get massive deal.
He's going to get paid.
Xavier Howard's probably going to be gone.
But Howard, I mean,
Raekwon Davis, another guy. Jerome Baker might need to restructure.
They're
his
aging
deal.
guys, right? I mean, you kind of have
But Christian
to.
Wilkins, like, he's the one guy that is like he anchors that D line, you know.
But I think it's so much easier to rebuild a defense than it is to find a quarterback.
True.
Right? You can find guys in the draft. Guys fall into the draft and they become steals and stuff. But to find a quarterback, dude, it's tough.
Yeah.
You'd have to wait for one to fall in your lap, right? I mean, you look at all these teams; they have great teams, but then no quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll be fine. I think Miami, and then with McDaniels there, they have some type of a rhythm going, right? Versus it changing every year, a new head coach, new offensive coordinator.
That's another thing that I wanted to see. Like, everybody was loving McDaniel, right, when he was winning.
Yeah.
But I always thought about, like, what was it gonna be like once, like, shit hit the fan, like.
All of a sudden,
like once he starts losing, it's not cute and funny anymore, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like you've seen Dolphin fans like getting mad and like this is the same old dumb attitude that he has. Like it's not funny anymore. Like when you're not winning, it's not funny.
Right.
People turn on you quick, man.
Yeah. Everybody loves a winner, but not when you start losing.
Result based league.
Pretty much. Speaking of results, Drew, let's get into it. You want to go first or?
Yeah, I can go first.
Go ahead.
Here's some of my notes. The big one being the defense. Dan Quinn and his defense. I can't wrap my brain around their game plan on defense. Throughout the entire season, the Cowboys played about 70% man defense. And in this game, it seemed like it was 70% zone. And it looked like these guys have never played zone in their life. The amount of times that someone's wide open because it's just finding a pocket in a zone and these guys are breaking early to try and cover the wrong zone, it was ridiculous.
It's like the underneath stuff, huh? Jordan Love was
and so that was bad, and you couldn't do anything about that. The pass rush was non-existent. Like this offensive line had 2 rookie tackles and we didn't get to him once. That's not good. Or we got to him once. That's not good.
There's a couple times you guys were close, but he was able to get rid of it.
Yeah. Just sling it. They held Aaron Jones. I'm going to say held because of how bad this rush defense has been over the years. Just like 110 yards. He got a bunch of touchdowns. That was cool.
3 touchdowns, yeah.
Yeah. But defensively, that's where we lost the game. They got punched in the mouth. Right away, those first 2 drives, they with ease 2 touchdowns. Like there was no pushback from that Cowboys defense. The very first drive, it looks like we're gonna set up 3rd and 13, and then we get called for a defensive pass interference, so it's an automatic first down, and that changed everything. It was just easy after that. On the offensive side, I do think they tried to force the run more than they should have. And that's really it. Dak made a couple of throws that weren't great. The interception that Jair Alexander got,
baller play.
I can't get upset at Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Like the throw was slightly out of Cooks' way, But Jair went around Cooks to make the interception. That's not his fault. The pick six is his fault. That the linebacker's just sitting down right there waiting for Dak to throw that ball. He was baiting him into that throw.
Right.
And then once they got behind, they were behind right away. So once Dak started slinging it, things looked better. But it's really hard for me to point fingers at the offense when the defense just giving up scores every single drive. Like you can't catch up. That's what the Cowboys on the flip side did really well throughout the entire season. They always asked for the ball first. They went out, they scored, and once that defense got ahead, they just started rushing the quarterback like crazy. And that they were able to defend the run. They didn't have to defend the run, and that was the key to success. Score first, get the lead, and then just blitz the quarterback. And that didn't work out in this game at all.
Right.
And that's my assessment on the game. Like there's not a lot to say nitpick and this was bad and this was bad. This was bad. The defense just let you down, and once they got behind, it's like you couldn't catch up. 27-0. It's very difficult to win a game.
Right. And then that was my initial thought first too when you were watching them. Like when we're watching that defense, it's pretty much live by the blitz, die by the blitz, right? And there was just what I was like surprised about was like the blown coverages, right? And it's just
because they were in zone. Like why?
There was a couple that were in zone, but then the ones that did them really dirty was the ones where they're in man. Like I don't know if you saw the one where you sent us, the one with Stefan is like running across with him, but then he cuts it back the other way.
Yes.
And he's peeking in the backfield. He's not has his eyes on his man and stuff. I mean, that's a veteran corner.
He's
that's
trying to jump the route.
Defensive player of the year.
He's assuming this is going to be like a deep
crossing route,
right. And it's not. And he jumps the route, and then he's looking for the ball, and it's like, dude, the guy's going to complete opposite way.
That's one thing I noticed about the Cowboys defense, that they do struggle against that Kyle Shanahan system, right? Where it's just like all the motions, the back and forth, the crossing routes, and disguising these routes, right? Thinking it's going to be this concept, but it comes off being another concept.
The double move has killed the Cowboys the last two seasons
because so aggressive.
Of how aggressive they are. They're always jumping routes. Deron Bland, when he gets cooked pretty good, and it's typically on a double move. DK Metcalf beat him a couple times on double moves.
Right.
But then when you don't, you just a typical post or an out route, Deron Bland jumps, he's going to intercept the ball.
Right.
That's very similar to living and die by the blitz. Is they're jumping routes. They're trying to be aggressive, and it can backfire, and it did.
And then offensively, it's just, I mean, I think it's over reliant on Dak and CD to make a play. Right, not very creative. I mean, they could have moved CD around a little bit more to try to open him up. Maybe a few more creative routes. I feel like CD is kind of just running up the field and hoping that he's open, right? And he's double coverage. He's double covered. The Alexander pick, I mean, what can you do? Like Dak tried to make a play, guy picked it off. Yeah, I mean, he was a solid player. And then when Alexander got hurt there in the second half, the offense completely opened up, right?
Yeah.
And then they started moving the ball like crazy.
What was interesting was he got hurt, and then they ran the ball twice after that.
Right. Throw it to the TV.
I didn't understand. I'm like,
expose him.
Everyone knows the very next play you're gonna throw to that new guy.
Yeah.
But you didn't. You ran it twice. That didn't make any sense.
It's like the JV guy coming in.
Yeah.
Like, dude, obviously we're gonna go deep on you. Yeah. But and then they were just over relying on Dak and CD to make a play. Ferguson got involved a little too late. I feel like they could have gotten him more involved early.
Well, what seemed to happen was once they got down by the 3 scores, they started force feeding CD, and that's the pick six. Is every look is going to CD.
Yeah, because they were down by 20.
And then at that point, it's like, all right, well, cover CD because that's all that they're trying to do is force feed CD. So things had to change. It was just they got behind the 8 ball quick, and then Jordan Love just got hot.
That's where I was like, I remember we're going online and then just everybody bashing Dak. And it's just like, okay, yeah, he didn't play that great. But he's also, like we talked about Tua, he's not playing defense, right?
Yeah, so now
defense gave up 35 points.
Yeah, let me address the coaching and then Dak. The big thing with Dak is he's the franchise quarterback until he retires. Yeah. We have to accept this. Like we were talking about Tua, there's no one out there that's going to step into this system and make the team better.
Right.
And when we talk about guys getting drafted in the first round, Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, these guys, they're not elevating their team, right? So you can't just sit here and say, oh, go draft a first-round quarterback. Right. He's going to fix our franchise because that's not always the case. Tom Brady was drafted, 6th round?
Right.
Like, come on. So Dak had MVP-like season. He has a wishy-washy playoff game, and all of a sudden people are trade this guy. These fans are fake fans. Then the next big 2 topics for the Dallas Cowboys: 1, Dan Quinn, and then 2, Mike McCarthy. They already said it in like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, that Mike McCarthy's staying.
Staying, baby.
A lot of people disagree.
So I'm not going anywhere.
A lot of people disagree. I said from the beginning of the season, it's Super Bowl or bust for his job. If he doesn't make the Super Bowl, he's going to get fired. And then we talked 2 weeks ago on how him becoming the play caller changes everything.
Right.
We just took Dak Prescott for someone who was a B quarterback, and he's a play caller for 1 season, and now Dak Prescott is MVP candidate. That is all Mike McCarthy. The bond that they had, the same wavelength that they're on, that's something that the Cowboys need to continue to explore. Mike McCarthy is not the reason why the Cowboys lost this game. The defense and Dan Quinn's the reason why they lost this game. Too often it seemed like this season I would praise Dan Quinn. He did great. He did well. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, the Niners just put up 32. Well, what happened? Well, Dan Quinn didn't do this and Dan Quinn didn't do that. And that just seemed to be the piece in my mind that held the Cowboys back just a little bit too often. At the beginning of the season, we talked about how the defense was probably going to carry this team when in reality it was vice versa. The offense carried this team. Dak Prescott carried this team. So to split up Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott would have been a terrible idea. There's only 2 coaches out there, Belichick and Vrabel, which were worthy, in my opinion, to coach the Cowboys, and I don't think they were going to get either one. So we're going to stick with Mike McCarthy again. You got to explore if Dak can replicate this year under Mike McCarthy again. Dan Quinn, I think, is out. And I think it's going to be like a mutual thing. He's going to go coach Seattle. He's going to go coach. He's going to go coach someone else. Yeah. Like that job is meant for him. I mean, he was the mastermind behind that Legion of Boom that really carried them to their Super Bowl wins. So, it is what it is. Now you got to look on and find a defensive coordinator. Probably deep in your linebacker room because they started the season off with 5 linebackers and ended the season with 1. So that's kind of a problem. So yeah, that's the gist of it.
OC, what did you see, man?
In that game,
you love watching the Cowboys take L's, dude.
You know, I'm the biggest Cowboy hater, one of the biggest Cowboy haters. You know,
you're not alone though.
But I was so distraught from Saturday night. I didn't even care. Like, there was like a little joy in me watching Andrew sit through that, but I was just like, dang, I can't even make fun of him because Miami just.
It's true.
Like, they blew themselves out.
Just OC watching like
night.
emo TikTok memes online and stuff. Yeah.
Leaving as Drew, like, we were there, like, we're sitting at a birthday party, and I wasn't even making fun of him.
No.
Like, I was just sitting there, like, still thinking about Miami and what they didn't do Saturday night.
I did have that in the back of my mind at halftime. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to this party, and the game's going to be on there. I'll watch it. And I'm like, but at least Miami lost already, so I don't got to hear from OC. Nick is still going to be there, so I'm going to hear from Nick.
Yeah.
But at least I don't got to get it from OC right now.
It was funny, though, because Nick, every time the Packers would score, he was in behind Drew's ears just...
But I mean, the thing is that the Niner fans can't talk too much shit either because we got them visiting our house coming up in a couple days. So that's we're gonna have to wait on the shit talking for a little while.
As far as the game went, I think the biggest thing that I saw, and you guys already kind of touched base on it, it was just the second level throws. So they were setting up with Aaron Jones, obviously, right? And Dallas was so like worried about stopping Aaron Jones at some point that once they got to the second level, those tight ends were making those moves, and it was just gashing down the field. Even like deep in routes, there was just non-existence from the linebackers dropping into coverage, right? And like Drew said, they're a predominantly man team. So for them to get into spaces, right, those linebackers, they look lost. And that's why you've seen so many gaps and so many like open spaces because they were setting up with play action. Jordan gets back there after the drop, and he's just dropping dimes in to Dubes and to was it Kraft or Musgrave?
Right.
And they were just blowing them out of the water with chunks of 15 to 20 yards every time. So that was the biggest thing I noticed.
Right. Well, yeah, it is like those linebackers. They're so used to playing man. They're not used to like dropping into zone and like, okay, I got that guy, you got that guy. Like there was confusion, right, in the secondary, mostly with those linebackers, right? And
Well, yeah. We like I said, started the season off with 5. We converted one safety into a linebacker, and he played linebacker the entire season.
yeah,
That's tough.
it's tight.
There was something like they averaged, I think, 6 defensive backs on the field at one time. Like that's the average for the Cowboys. That's a lot.
They also did a very good job of making Micah Parsons like non-existent in the game, right?
Yeah.
They game planned very well.
He had an impact early on, but that was really it.
That was it, yeah.
And it wasn't even that necessarily beneficial.
All right, you guys want to talk about the other games? Get into it.
Who
I mean,
cares?
you guys are kind of just distraught from the week from watching those games.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I mean,
There's
Joe
still football.
Flacco take a dump. We didn't expect that coming, right?
I really didn't. It looked like a really good game for the first quarter and a half,
That was going to be a shootout.
and then it's like,
Then the 2 pick sixes.
then it's like, what just happened?
Yeah,
I was really impressive from the Texans. I'm very impressed.
the Lions pulling it off against the Rams. I mean,
That was
really
gonna
big
be
surprise there.
That was going to be a close game regardless. I thought the Rams could have pulled it out. I thought like if there was a dark horse to make a Super Bowl run, it would have been the Rams. But
pretty much every home team
Yeah.
won except for the Cowboys.
yeah. Dude, poor Matthew Stafford. Like that dude gets beat up so much.
Yeah, he took,
And then,
he
like
took a beating.
he's one tough ass dude.
Yeah.
Like he was
100%.
tough in Detroit. He's tough in LA. Like I mean, he jammed his finger. Then he got like blindsided, and then he took a fucking helmet to the chest.
Yeah.
And like, dude, this guy's just going through the ringer.
His finger was cut open.
It was like cut
Yeah.
up in because it hit a helmet, right?
Yeah.
And it was like all cut up. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, the dude's tough. Like he's probably one of the few quarterbacks in the
Collapsed
league that
lung just for his
I root for that guy.
just for his kids to get booed.
I know.
Damn.
Fuck, that's shitty fans, bro. Like you gotta know, like
Like
man,
you could boo him, like, but to boo the girls.
adults.
Yeah.
You know, come on, not the kids.
Can you imagine being 4 years old and then just like an entire stadium just hating you?
Yeah.
Just-
And then for Stafford to be like, yeah, I loved playing in Detroit. Like this was a huge part of my life. And then you turn around like, fuck you, Stafford. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, what?
yeah. It
That's
looked like
tough.
there was so much mutual respect going into the game, right?
Yeah.
And then just
then the fans ruined it
and then
all.
just fans is that people started drinking, dude.
Yeah.
You don't know, man. It shit happens. The Bills took care of business against the Steelers, right? I mean, no big surprise there. I mean, Mason Rudolph did what Mason Rudolph does. What's up?
The Bills just, I don't know. They kind of look like the Chiefs, you know? It wasn't
bit.
like they got off to that hot start, right? Up to what, 21-0 or
It was like
Yeah.
14-0.
yeah.
No, just 21-0.
It was 21-0?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
they
then
got
it
up
turned into
quick.
21-14. And
Yeah.
then you're like, oh.
It got tight like
Oh.
that second and third quarter. That blocked field goal got a lot of momentum for the Steelers. So it's like that offense didn't. It looked impressive the first half of the game, and then Mason Rudolph of all people starts leading the comeback.
They started coming back a little bit.
Eventually, they did put him away, you know,
Right.
but it was still kind of like.
But then the Steelers had like a fumble early on, right? Where
Yeah.
like Pickens fumbled or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like, It really makes me think about like what, like the matchup is going to be like this week with them. But we'll talk about that after the other game.
I mean, and then the other game, the last one, is really just the Eagles and the Bucks and
It's
how
the only thing that made me happy all weekend.
I mean, the Eagles, it was obvious, right? They completely checked in, right? Or checked out. They just gave up. And that's what kind of sucks, seeing Jason Kelsey go out like that, which now coming to find out that he didn't actually officially retire yet. No, he actually came out and said he's like, I haven't actually made.
He just told the Eagles, I'm not coming back.
I don't know. He just like
Because he's a free agent.
there was news outlets and stuff that put up like, okay, officially retired, and then he came out I think like a day later and just said, I haven't actually made an actual decision yet. But I mean, it looks
Hey,
like he's gonna retire.
Dallas needs a new center. Just saying.
He's gonna go ring chasing now.
Yeah.
I
Why
mean-
not? Why not? His brothers got 2, 3.
But I mean, and then you're watching that game, and that one I think for me was the hardest one to watch. Like I was able
Not
to
for
watch.
me.
I was
It was the easiest.
I
one
was
to
able
watch.
to watch all of them fine, right? I mean the first one was a little bit boring. The Steelers and the Browns and the Texans got a little bit boring once they started pulling away. But then the very last one, the Eagles and the Bucks, and watching like how just that sideline fall apart, right, for the Eagles.
Oh, see, that was entertaining for me.
You liked it, right?
I liked it.
I just kept waiting and waiting. Like it was like the Dolphin game all over again, just like waiting for them to put something together, right? They had that big,
it looked like they were, right?
They had that same kind of setup
Right.
as the Dolphins, where they had that big play down the field to Devontae Smith. They end up scoring on that drive, right?
Right.
And then it was pretty much fizzled out after that. Like there was nothing else. Like they didn't. I don't think they got a third or a fourth down conversion the entire
Right.
game.
It kind of looked like they all like gave up. Like I mean, Devontae Smith, maybe Jalen was still fighting, maybe Dallas Goedert was still fighting, but I mean that
Yeah, they
entire
were fighting on the sideline.
and Dallas Goedert was calling Jalen a bitch.
Yeah.
He was calling him- I don't
Dude,
know what he called him. But he's
they're
in his
so-
ear.
So toxic, dude.
I'm not surprised by this at all. This is exactly who I thought the Eagles were. Shannon Sharp, I think, is the one who put it in good perspective. He says, when your check engine light comes on, there's a warning there. This isn't good. But your car's still going to start the next day and the next day and the next day. But eventually it's not going to start
They
anymore.
just put the black electrical tape over the top of it. There we go. Problem solved.
Then eventually it's not going to start anymore, and now you're fucked. And that's exactly what the Eagles were. They were winning games barely, like a couple of faults here, then they got away with it. They won, but that check engine light was on. Like, hey, we should fix these problems. They never fixed the problems, and it showed at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, and it just all falling apart. I mean, I kind of feel for Jalen a little bit because, he took the responsibility of being the leader of that team. I mean, had it not been for that holding call at the end of the game last year, the Super Bowl, who knows, right? Maybe Jalen leads them down the field to score, and they win the Super Bowl. He probably should have won MVP last year had he not gotten hurt, and then Pat was the one that actually won it. So for them to like just completely churn on Jalen like that, I mean, it's got to be a toxic locker room, right?
People don't feel bad for Dak Prescott, so don't feel bad for Jalen Hurts.
That's true. Dak does get a lot of heat.
Oh yeah,
from pretty much everywhere, no matter what.
But it comes with the job of quarterback.
It comes with the job.
Hey, shout out. I know there's a lot about the Eagles, but shout out to Baker, dude.
He put stuff together.
That was an impressive win.
Man.
He got a playoff win before the Browns did.
He did what Tom Brady couldn't do last year. Win a playoff game at home.
Win a playoff game at home.
That's crazy,
yeah.
man. He threw 300 and 3 tuds?
Yeah, dude, he balled out, man.
He
Dude
played
is
well.
balling.
Yeah, I mean, even though
that last touchdown was a little, dear God, just throw the ball. I'm about to get murdered, and it turned into a touchdown.
That's what I'm saying. And then even a lot of those DBs over there
Yeah.
in Philadelphia just did not
They're
want to
so
tackle.
bad.
Did not
They're
want to
so
tackle. I mean, they were worse than Dallas. I feel like
Oh,
they played way worse
for
than
sure.
Dallas' secondary.
For sure. But that secondary was, I mean, that's one of the things that I feel like we talked about at the very beginning of the season. The Eagles secondary is so bad.
They're
on
awful.
paper it's bad.
They're awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're absolutely terrible. You guys want to go ahead and just look into next week's games? Let's go ahead. Let's look into next week's games, and let's go to the first one: Texans at Baltimore. What do you guys see? What are you guys excited for? I mean, I'm excited for
CJ Stroud and the Texans.
Okay.
It was impressive. I want to see that again. They're underdogs. They're on the road, but you know what? Lamar is. I'm gonna say he needs to be treated like Dak Prescott's record in the playoffs because it's
pretty similar.
It's pretty
Yeah.
similar.
It's like 1-3, right?
Yeah,
Something
he's
like
1-3.
Yeah,
Dak
1-3,
is now
yeah.
2-5.
Right.
So I'm gonna pick the Texans, and that's who I'm gonna root for, because I think that'll be fun and exciting.
Okay. OC?
Yeah. We talked about his playoff record early on in the year, right? Or a couple weeks ago. And that's the same thing that I'm rolling with. He's only 1-3 in the playoffs, right?
Right.
It was their first game of the season, right? Texans at
Baltimore?
At Baltimore.
That's a blowout.
Yeah. I mean, CJ didn't play bad, right? 242.
Right. It was 25-9.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He didn't throw any touchdowns, obviously, but neither did Lamar. I mean, last week, obviously, I went against the Schneid, and everything I picked went the opposite, I think, except for one game. So, yeah, I'm going to take Houston here.
You can take Houston.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Interesting.
Even though I think I picked Baltimore to win
to go when we did the brackets.
I'm starting all over.
I mean, after our brackets, dude. I mean, we kind of have to at this point. It was terrible.
We should have just quit.
We were awful.
Just stop talking about sports.
I think I'm going to stick with Baltimore here, and I think we talk about the record, about Lamar's record in the playoffs. Pretty pitiful. But I feel like this is the more complete team that he's had around him going into the playoffs, right? He's finally got that offensive weapon, Zay Flowers. I mean, I know that Mark Andrews isn't playing, but then you have Likely there.
He started practicing again.
Or Andrews started practicing. So, see, there you go. I mean, what if they get him back?
Maybe by the AFC title game if they make it.
And then plus, I don't think he's ever had
Just
a
in time
defense.
for Cancun.
Yeah. A lot of these guys are going to Cancun, right? Plus, I don't think the Ravens have had a defense,
This defense
like this.
is elite.
Yeah.
This is a Legion of
solid
Boom
defense.
elite.
And so it's going to be interesting. I think that's the biggest matchup. I feel like Lamar, he is going to perform. He's going to go ahead and do his thing. It's honestly going to come down to C.J. Stroud against that defense.
Can he make plays?
If C.J. Stroud showed up like the way he did last week, I got faith in him.
100%.
Especially, I think the matchup defensively is going to be Will Anderson and that defense trying to stop Lamar.
Right.
So.
Because I don't think this Houston defense is going to be able to create turnovers like they did last week against Joe Flacco,
but
right?
I still think they match up well just because they're young and they're fast. So maybe like
match the speed.
They're just gonna. And D'Amico Ryans is a hell of a defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
that's another thing
so
too.
So he can X and O a defense up schematically against Lamar.
Right. So
you know what would be crazy? The Harbaugh brothers both win a national championship this year.
One wins a Natty and then the other one's a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Let's not say that, okay? Let's not say that.
Hey, turn your vibrator off.
I know. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the Saturday night game, the Niners and Packs.
Go Pack, go, huh?
Yeah, it's just the haters, dude.
No, I'm just gonna roll with the hot hand. Well, one, I hate the Niners. Two, if Aaron Jones can fire up that team again, great, good for you. Let Jordan Love sling a little bit. Go with the hot hand. Jair's hot right now.
Jair might not even play.
Oh, he's gonna play. He played against Dallas. He's gonna play this week.
All right, OC.
San Francisco and Levi's is a different beast.
It's a different animal.
And they've had the Packers. I know it's a different Packers team,
Right.
but some of the pieces are still the same. And a healthy 49ers team, I just feel is going to feast on Jordan Love.
Well, it's Shanahan's always had LaFleur's number for what I think there was only one time that LaFleur has been
There's
able to.
a little bit of a bad blood there, right? Like they don't like.
They've worked together. I don't know if there's like bad blood.
But
maybe it did develop as LaFleur kind of took the job there in Green Bay, but there's a little bit of a rivalry there.
Yeah.
I think between like
that's the better word right there.
similar coaching styles, right? Similar offenses. The Niners have the better defense, I think. And I feel like the media is crowning Jordan Love just a little too soon, right? He's put on a good show the past few weeks, right? He's led them into the playoffs. He got his first playoff win. But, I mean, to be comparing him to Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre.
Oh, no. Let's not get
and they're just crowning him. Some people, I mean, watching everybody's reactions from Saturday or from Sunday, they're calling him the best quarterback in the league right now. Like everything.
So what if he does win? Then you'll crown him like Danny Green once said.
I mean, if he puts on a performance similar to what he did to Dallas,
then you'll be like,
okay, this guy's legit, and then he should win the fucking Super Bowl. Okay, then make a run, But until then, I think it's still too soon to crown him, right? I mean. Yeah, you beat the shit out of Dallas defense, but I mean, you also got helped with 2 interceptions, right? The pick 6 was big. And then plus, schematically, maybe Kyle Shanahan kind of has got something going. I mean, Dan Quinn's a better, I think, coordinator than what we have. But I mean, I think also, too, I think we have a better head coach.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be able to pull it all together. So I'm sticking with the Niners.
Our head
obviously.
coach has won a Super Bowl. Has your head coach won a Super Bowl?
It's a good point, but our head coach never had Aaron Rodgers. Okay, then.
Whose coach had a 28-3 lead?
Against Tom Brady. Against the GOAT.
Both of your coordinators.
both of our guys.
Quinn and Shanahan.
Yeah, so there you go.
Man.
So,
do you think they cover the, was it 8-point spread right now? 9 points?
something like that.
Do you think they cover at least by 10?
No.
It'll be a tight one.
So you think
It's just it's interesting to see what I think our defense is going to hold up. We're going to make them punt. They're going to get their points, no doubt about it. They're going to get their big plays. But we also have Fred Warner, Drake Greenlaw, who are very good cover linebackers, right? So they're gonna be able to take some of that underneath stuff away. Our DBs and safeties, they're not big play guys, but I mean they're decent enough to where they're gonna be able to lock down guys if we need to play man. I don't think they're gonna play much man, but if we need to, we'll be able to lock down guys.
So
it's not like they have like a superstar wide receiver.
So what
right?
you're telling me is the Niners have the better team, they're at home, and they're better coached.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought all the same shit about the Cowboys last week, and we see what happened.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I kind of bit my tongue a little bit this week and not talk shit to the Cowboy fans as much.
They get by, but barely, just because. Like,
I think it'll be a close game.
I know San Francisco didn't have anybody or really much anybody the last week of the season, but also what the Ravens did to them kind of put out a little bit of a blueprint on them. So,
well, what the Ravens did to us was mostly defensively, and that says like does that Green Bay defense have the same?
Yeah,
dogs?
so that's my thought process.
Right.
Like, are they going to be able to key in on what they expose?
Right.
You know,
I do think there's something to be said about teams taking 2 weeks off. These guys haven't played a game in 3 weeks, as opposed to the team.
That's another thing. They're going to come out rusty,
a little flat, a little rusty, as opposed to the team that just went on the road and won a big game that's a little bit hot right now.
And that's always what worries me about getting that number 1 seed. But then again, last year we saw 2 number 1 seeds go at it in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I was like. That it did worry me. It's because it's always in the back of your head, right? We always look at history and like, okay, let's see how it plays out.
Sometimes getting that bye is not always the best thing.
It's not the best thing, right? Because your team comes out flat and rusty. But also, I think if you look at the personalities and the head coaches and how it all puts together, I think
the Niners team should be a team that rises beyond that.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think the same with the Ravens. They've very experienced head coaches, very experienced team, been there, done that, 2 teams, right? So I feel like they're both going to rise up to the occasion. Let's go ahead. Let's move on to the next game. Let's see.
The Bucks and Lions.
I just got to pull it up. Yeah, the Bucks and the Lions.
Lions.
In Detroit, where
It's
that
gonna be
weather
cold.
is going to be rough.
It's going to be
Ken
brutal.
Baker, Ken Tampa Bay.
I hope they're preparing for that weather.
That weather. Yeah. I wonder what Todd Bowles is cooking up there.
It's going to be a miserable 75 degrees.
For those that you don't know, there are reporters in Tampa Bay that are really dumb. They asked Todd Bowles probably the dumbest question you probably could have asked. I would have been so embarrassed if I were that reporter.
Yeah.
Right. I would have left like right away. Then you're like, I think I'm in the wrong classroom actually. So I think I'm just going to just step out.
You know, our podcast may not get, a lot of views as much as like some of these other reporters.
Yeah.
But at least we know that Detroit plays in a dome.
Yep.
At the very least.
Yeah.
We know that Detroit plays in a dome.
Yep.
Everybody except
we watch
that reporter.
Detroit games sometimes.
And she's, oh man, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad.
All right, let's look into
Her
this
boss
one.
has got it like, hey, tomorrow morning in my office.
Hey, you had one question, and that was your one
That
question.
was your one question?
No, dude, they
How are you going to prepare for the weather?
They took
in
the
dome?
politically correct journalists and like, hey, go cover this game for us. So the sports guy called out sick or whatever.
Oh, man.
And she was like, okay, I guess I'll take it. And she Googled some stuff before she got
And
there.
when Todd Bowles kind of looked at her and just like smiled, like,
He was nice about it. At
Yeah.
least.
like you do know that we're gonna be indoors, right?
He was like confused for a second.
He said,
like,
he
where's the
said, yeah.
cameras?
He's
like,
like,
"Hey,
are we
camera."
playing somewhere else?
He's all, it might affect us those 20 seconds when we get off the bus into the locker room.
That was
But
such an awesome answer.
I was like, damn.
Such a great answer. Let's look into that one.
Lions by 3 scores.
Ooh.
Wow.
It's not even going to be close.
No.
You think the momentum and everything that Detroit has right now? Kind of like it.
I like
Yeah.
the Lions, but not by 3. I think they just also barely like get by, just
I
because
thought they were going to win by 3 last week the way they started.
just because the Bucks defense can match up defensively,
Right.
offensively with them.
If you can stop the tush push, you can stop anything.
Yeah, so
There was no tush push required in that game.
I think that's a
Yeah, they were. They did. They stopped them on a 2-point conversion.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
The one tush push they had?
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's a 6.5 point spread right now. So I think it's the Bucks cover, but the Lions win.
I agree. I think the Lions win, but the Bucks cover. I think this one's the potential shootout. I mean, Detroit's defense really, again, I think that secondary is still kind of leaky, right? I mean, they gave up a ton of yardage to Puka.
Hold on.
What?
Puka just set records. Let's not say like, oh yeah, you gave up a bunch of yards to Puka. Well,
You don't think Mike Evans is capable of doing the same thing?
yeah, I do, but let's not like when you say that their secondary is skeptical and that they're going to exploit it. The Eagles secondary is trash. So playing the Eagles secondary compared to the Lions secondary, that is a big step up.
Okay, it's a little different, but I think it's still going to be a back and forth, and then just all the stars that Detroit has, dude. I don't think they're going to be able to stop all of them.
Yeah, this is also a matchup from earlier in the year that Detroit won in Tampa Bay.
By 2 scores.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with 3 scores this time. I think that's a bit of a reach. I kind of just threw that out there, but yeah, I'll stick with it.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead. Let's the big game to end it all. Chiefs and the Bills, man.
The Bills are hot. I'm gonna roll with the team that's hot. I'm just gonna roll with the team that's hot, and it's gonna be another classic Chiefs Bills matchup. And I think the Bills finally get it done.
I think this one's for me is a toss up. This one's a tough one. OC, what do you think?
Like you said too as well, toss up. But I was just reading right now that the head referee for this game is going to be Ed Hockley. And Ed Hockley is apparently 8-2 when he refs Chiefs games. So that plays a factor.
I like how you said he's 8-2.
He's
not
8-2.
not
You mean the Chiefs are 8-2.
Not the Chiefs are 8-2. He's 8-2.
Obviously, but I'm not picking the Bills. Come on. I don't want to see that.
There's a division rival. I think you're not the biggest fan of Josh Allen.
I mean,
I'd be a bigger Josh Allen fan if Fresno State would have recruited him.
Yeah,
that's what I was like, what's the hate with Josh Allen between you guys?
The thing about it, too, this week it came out, people were speculating that there was that one run, the 52-yard run.
Where he,
Josh,
the fake slide.
And then the Bills fans, kind of, did a video where they broke down every single one of his runs. And then they also brought into the fact how he kind of throws himself. Someone made a good point. They're like, this dude will run through defenders like no other, but when he's in the pocket, he throws himself he's
he's a flop.
Yeah, he's
LeBron James of quarterbacks.
I mean, he knows the game, right? He understands it.
Mm-hmm.
He makes plays when he needs to.
Yeah, and then he sells calls when he needs to.
That's true.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs.
Okay. I think I'm going to go Chiefs. I think the Bills are hot, but it's just watching them against the Steelers, and they just weren't convincing enough. And I think people forget that I think the Chiefs can ride that D all the way to the Super Bowl, right?
Come on, man.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Maurice Jones-Drew?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that defense is they're not elite. They're not as good as the Ravens defense, but I think they're pretty good. They're pretty solid. And I think they're going to be able to stifle Josh. And like we said, it's hard to beat a team twice, right?
Yeah.
The Bills were able to beat them in Kansas City. I think Kansas City returns the favor.
This is Mahomes' first true road game in the playoffs too.
And I feel like
right.
I feel like he's going to pull it off.
Yeah.
I feel like if
it's always been at home or the Super Bowl as a neutral site.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But he's always had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Yeah. I think Mahomes is going to do what Mahomes does, and he's just going to take advantage. And that's why I was like, you can never count out the Chiefs, dude, when it comes to making a run in the playoffs. Always. I mean, how many times have we seen Tom Brady where it's just like we count him out, and then some way they're AFC Championship game?
Someone brought up the fact that this is our new Manning versus Brady in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, 100%.
This is the third time in the last 4 years that they've matched up in the playoffs.
And then Josh is Manning and just can never get over the hump.
Yeah.
Until maybe
it's this time, maybe it's next time. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be this time.
No.
Do you guys think that they tested Mahomes for concussion?
No.
After going helmet to helmet so hard your helmet broke, you don't want to test that for a concussion?
I've seen some stuff back and forth. I mean, however much that stuff is true, but I guess there's a few different styles of helmets where now these helmets have a little bit of a give, right, on the shell. So there's some helmets I think they were saying DBs and wide receivers use that the top of their shell moves a little bit to absorb some of the
contact.
impact.
Yeah.
And I guess Mahomes, he's wearing a helmet that absorbs like in the corners, right, where it broke. So there's like a little bit of a give there. Supposedly that froze up, and the foam inside his helmet froze up to where that impact, they just got hit right in the direct spot to where it just popped.
So
And how much you want to buy that explanation?
I think that could potentially spin it to be worse. Your helmet was faulty, and then you got hit in the head. I never saw. First off, that they didn't waste a timeout for it. They're supposed to, right?
I mean, it was just an equipment change.
Yeah, but I think they talked about it in the game. He's supposed to be charged a timeout.
I'm not sure what the actual rule is for an
Anyway.
equipment change. I know if he would have like gotten hurt, like if he went down and was checked out, he's got to take a timeout for him to come back into the game.
Yeah,
right. I do know that.
Still, I think almost any other position, that person's getting checked out.
Possibly.
Just something that I saw. I was
But
like,
I mean,
that's
it's the
interesting.
NFL, dude. It's a poster
interesting.
child. I mean, I'm pretty sure they would have treated maybe Dak the same way.
Oh hell no! Come out the game.
The NFL loves to hate Dak.
Yep,
Huh?
yep.
No. Yeah,
It's-
poor guy.
Jerry Jones, the boy, pull him out.
Jerry Jones got that whip up there,
Oh,
dude. Yeah. But anything else you guys want to add before we close out?
No
Any
sir.
conspiracy theories that Drew wants to bring up?
Month away from baseball season.
That's what you're big. Is that what you're looking for now?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. Are you guys gonna actually watch these games, or are you
Yeah.
guys completely just checked out?
I'm probably not gonna watch the Bucks and the Lions.
I'll watch.
I'm still gonna watch. I mean, even if the Niners lose, I'll still watch all the games.
I'll probably put the Texans and Ravens on in the background.
I'm just sad, but I'll still watch.
You guys are just hurt, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just. It is what it is. Don't. I mean.
You'll get it like in 5 days from now.
Relax.
You'll know.
Relax. Hey, I've been down this road before.
Yeah.
Like I've.
You saw my tweet. It's not my first time.
Yeah.
Not my last
Yeah.
time.
So, but unlike you guys, I'm still a fan of football, and I like to watch it no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, how many years did I go, or OC too, the Dolphins, did we go with not a single playoff appearance?
Oh yeah,
We win like a whole decade, dude. Right?
Miami did for sure.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Niners there. The Niners did. So I was there when we drafted Alex Smith first overall. So yeah, things were bad. All right. Anything else?
No.
Let's go ahead and close it out.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all the Cowboy haters. Appreciate you guys for watching.
Give us more heat in the comments.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We're always there when we lose. You're
Tell
never
us how
there
you
when
guys
we win.
disagree that Mike McCarthy needs to get fired.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, put your opinions down there in the comment. I would love to hear it. This homer wants to see what you got to say
About Mike McCarthy.
about Mike
Dak
McCarthy,
Prescott,
Dak Prescott, Dan Quinn, whatever.
And all the-
Derrick Henry to the Cowboys.
and all the other homers burning their jerseys in their
Yes.
grill.
idiots. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching.
All right. Peace.